we see that a lot of money, $8,560,625, is being sent to America's Turning Point. They are sending it to their own shell company.
All right, you guys. So a week before Charlie lost his life, he expressed some concerns about the finances at Turning Point USA. In fact, he wanted to put together an entire department, a little mini department, to address those concerns, and we have evidence of that.
The moment those emails surfaced, Erika Kirk completely disappeared from the spotlight, realizing the spotless image she had built for years had shattered instantly. Now the IRS is closing in on her with relentless pressure. Reports claim Erika is accused of secretly taking an astonishing $15 million from TPUSA funds. And allegedly, she didn't act alone. Some of Charlie Kirk's close associates are rumored to have played a part in the scheme. This has sparked a firestorm of questions. Did Erika orchestrate one of the most shocking financial deceptions in MAGA history, or is she being dragged into a targeted investigation meant to strike a grieving widow?
Why does Erika Kirk need millions of dollars and GoFundMe and all these fundraisers? I don't know. I mean, Charlie Kirk left her Turning Point. She's the CEO. He had life insurance.
Just when it seemed like the turmoil surrounding Charlie's death was finally calming down, another shockwave slammed into TPUSA. And this one had nothing to do with mourning or sympathy. As everyone knows, the moment the IRS starts circling an organization, it means someone on the inside set off the alarms. And insiders claim that person might be much closer to Erika than she wants anyone to believe. It began with a single leaked email, then another, and then another. Within hours, staff members were whispering that things were about to erupt because those emails didn't just hint at unusual spending, they pointed directly at missing funds. That's the moment everything turned upside down. People inside TPUSA started asking whether Erika had seen this coming the entire time, because while the rest of the organization looked completely blindsided, she was out giving interviews, smiling for cameras, and acting as if nothing dangerous was building behind her. Inside the headquarters, tension was rising fast. Employees started trading rumors about the IRS discovering certain emails, the kind that could tear the organization apart from within. And the more they talked, the clearer it became that this wasn't some random audit. It felt deliberate. What people can't stop thinking about is this. Ever since Charlie passed, everyone in his inner circle has been behaving strangely, as if they expected something massive to drop and hoped it wouldn't point in their direction. But no one imagined the IRS would be the first to break the silence. With so much attention locked onto Charlie's death and the Tyler Robinson trial, TPUSA's finances weren't even part of the conversation. That's why the moment an IRS agent stepped through the door, the entire building froze. But before any of this exploded, the warning signs were already there. Staff inside TPUSA had sensed it for months because the IRS doesn't spontaneously decide to dig into an organization of this size. Something behind the scenes had been ringing alarm bells, and those alarms started the moment TPUSA's financial growth stopped matching reality. On the surface, everything looked flawless, the kind of flawless that usually means someone is hiding the real books. And here's the part that hits harder now. TPUSA didn't just grow, it skyrocketed, but that rapid jump didn't match what was being reported to the government. People online had been pointing it out for years. You don't jump from a $4 million organization to nearly $40 million in 4 years without someone adjusting numbers in the dark, and the IRS noticed. What made this even more suspicious was how protected TPUSA used to be. Wealthy Republican donors practically shielded the organization. Money poured in. Receipts? Not as much. For years, no one asked questions, partly because of Charlie, and partly because no one wanted to stir trouble inside such a powerful network. But after Charlie died, the shield cracked. Defenders went quiet, donors pulled back, and insiders started leaking information that should have never left those walls. That's when another rumor took over. The math didn't add up. TPUSA had reportedly brought in nearly $400 million during Charlie's decade of leadership, yet the current financial records don't show anything close to that amount. When those leaked emails suggested that some of the missing funds might be connected to Erika and a few people around her, the IRS acted immediately. And this is where everything turned again. Once those leaked emails started spreading behind closed doors, people inside TPUSA realized this was a direct attack on Erika's entire public image. And when the IRS arrives with questions, it usually means they already have enough evidence to dig deeper. According to insiders, these emails weren't minor errors or simple typos. They allegedly outlined years years of Erika quietly extracting money from TPUSA donation channels without Charlie ever finding out. And what shook people the most was this. The emails didn't only mention Erika, they included other names. Individuals who were supposed to be loyal to Charlie but apparently had no problem helping his wife siphon money behind his back.
But I'm starting to think that the assassination of Charlie Kirk was something akin to a regicide, right? The assassination of a king to install a new ruler who the king would have never approved of, right? Maybe people around him counseling the king, people who perhaps betrayed him, because there are just too many things that I am finding out that are not adding up to me.
None of these emails have been released to the public yet, but the quiet rumors have turned into loud knocks at TPUSA's front door. And those knocks are coming from IRS agents arriving with folders, lists, and questions no one inside the building wants to face. They aren't just reviewing receipts, they're digging into strange transactions, suspicious expenses, inflated budgets, and every missing dollar someone tried to hide. Then came the moment that hit everyone at once. Erika seemed convinced she could shift into the role of grieving widow, step into Charlie's legacy, and keep the public focused on sympathy long enough for the financial trail to fade away. But she's now discovering something she didn't expect. You cannot move $15 million out of a nonprofit this visible without eventually drawing attention. And what pushed this from a financial controversy into a full-on confrontation is what the FBI has been working on quietly in the background.
Jack Smith's elector case against then Citizen Trump and now President Trump. These new records show that Arctic frost was much broader than just an electoral matter. The case was expanded to Republican organizations. On that political list was one of Charlie Kirk's groups, Turning Point USA. In other words, Arctic frost wasn't just a case to politically investigate Trump. It was the vehicle by which partisan FBI agents and Department of Justice prosecutors.
Since the day Charlie passed, investigators have been quietly reconstructing the exact timeline of who knew what and when, and they're not stopping at staff members. They're examining everyone connected to Charlie, including Erika. The problem is, the timelines don't line up, not even slightly. Erika says she learned about Charlie's death from Mikey McCoy, his chief of staff, but as many people have already pointed out, the footage from that moment doesn't match her story. When Mikey is seen making that call, he couldn't have possibly known Charlie was gone. He didn't have confirmation yet. There was no way he could have told her what she claims he said. So now two major issues are on the table, the missing money and the timeline, and both trace straight back to Erika. What truly shocked people wasn't only the leaked emails or the sudden arrival of the IRS, it was how quickly Erika moved the moment Charlie was gone. Before police had even finished piecing together the final hours of Charlie's life, Erika had already placed herself at the top of TPUSA. Full glam, polished speeches, booked stages. She was everywhere.
On the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them."
People online started calling it a grief tour because every public appearance looked less like mourning and more like polished advertising. And when reporters questioned her about it, she repeated the same line over and over. This is what Charlie would have wanted, but according to Candace Owens, one of the few people still speaking about Charlie as a real person, that couldn't be further from the truth. She said Charlie would have demanded answers, transparency, and respect. He wouldn't have wanted his death turned into a spotlight performance. So the question became impossible to ignore. Why was Erika so focused on controlling TPUSA's image when the man who built that image had barely been laid to rest? Think about it. While everyone else was trying to make sense of Charlie's passing, Erika was already steering the organization, deciding what went public and what stayed hidden, almost as if she sensed something was coming and needed to get ahead of it before it reached the outside world. And now that the IRS is digging through every financial record TPUSA has ever handled, people are finally connecting connecting dots they overlooked before. Here's the part people hesitate to say out loud. If Erika didn't do this alone, then whatever the IRS uncovered is only the beginning. Suddenly, terms like shell companies, dummy nonprofits, and redirected donations are showing up in conversations that used to revolve around campus events and conservative rallies. And the people who once insisted TPUSA was untouchable are now stepping back as if they already know what's coming. Because once the FBI gets involved and insiders claim they're already asking quiet questions, it won't just be spreadsheets under scrutiny. It'll be the inner circle, the donors, the board members, and everyone who believed their actions would never be traced. And if even half of the whispers are true, TPUSA isn't the only thing about to collapse. Now it's starting to look like Erika wasn't only trying to protect TPUSA's reputation, she might have been trying to shield herself. Because when the IRS finishes tearing through those accounts, whatever they find won't just expose missing money, it will expose the people who assumed they were beyond consequences. And judging by what insiders are saying, Erika's name is just the first on a list much longer than anyone expected. So while she continues acting as if everything is perfectly normal, the walls around her are closing in fast. And when they finally lock into place, someone is getting pulled into the spotlight. And it won't be the person Erika expects.